Hello and welcome to the Intentional Brief, your weekly video update on the one big thing in cybersecurity news for growth stage companies, their investors, and their management teams. I'm your host, Shay Colson, managing partner at Intentional Cybersecurity, and you can find us online at intentionalcyber.com. Today is Monday, August 3rd, 2026, and the Strait of Hormuz is closed while negotiations continue or restart, or, frankly, it's not really clear that anybody knows what the current state is, which is a great metaphor for this week's news about the ongoing rogue AI agent attacks, and we're not just talking about open AIs. So perhaps it was just in trying to keep up with the other team in terms of news cycles last week or guerrilla marketing efforts, but we learned from Anthropic, makers of Claude, that they, quote, identified 3 incidents in which a model accessed the internet from within or while interacting with the evaluation environment, would read sandbox, quote, and then gained unauthorized access to the production infrastructure of 3 different organizations. Following this news, the Wall Street Journal declared in a headline, quote, rogue AI hacks herald new era of cyber chaos, unquote. That might be a touch sensationalist, especially coming from the Journal. I think others are taking a more measured approach, including a couple of posts from some UK thought leaders in cyber. One from Kieran Martin, who now teaches at Oxford after having run the UK's NCSC, the National Cybersecurity Centre, and Professor Alan Woodward, who is at the University of Surrey. I think both of their posts are worth reading, and we've linked to them below, but they're both designed to focus on and limit the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, being sown in these discussions. Woodward notes, I think, quite presciently that what is being oversold is intent. He writes, quote, the models were told to find complex attack paths through a computer system. They found one. It led somewhere nobody had thought to fence off, unquote. Martin frames it a little more straightforward, a little more simply. He says, quote, a freakout is not justified and harmful. Stop the FUD, fix the stuff, unquote. Wired, for their part, ran a long discussion about the implications for legal liability in this new world of rogue AI bots. Certainly if humans had done the things that these bots had done, there would be implications there. Are those implications so clear when it's done by a bot? Spoiler alert, not so clear, which is what we cover every week on this show. It's not so clear what we need to be worried about, but it's probably not those 0 days that are being found. It's actually the things that we know we need to fix and focusing on those things. For one good example, the latest Chrome release, which came out last week, release 151 for those counting, includes 370 vulnerability fixes, including roughly 80 critical and high severity items. So maybe you start there because that's where attackers are actually focused on exploiting. We are seeing a tremendous uptick in what are these so-called click fix attacks succeeding in the wild, where they pretend to be a CAPTCHA and get your user to copy, paste, and run some PowerShell on their system. We also saw a post from Microsoft calling out these type of attacks specifically being carried out by Russian threat actors targeting hotel Wi-Fi systems. And we saw another good article from a Chinese about a Chinese threat actor who's leveraging DeepSeek to chat through Telegram and carry out, quote, exploitation attempts against more than 460 targets using both autonomous and conventional workflows, unquote. But notably, they're targeting things that are vulnerable, but we have patches for. So this is an opportunity for us to, again, stay focused, again, fix the things, again, stop the FUD. And if we need data from the insurance industry to back that up, the team at Resilience has released their mid-year risk report, which actually goes back to January of 2024 through June of 2026. And it backs up the message that we keep sending here every week on this show, where they write, quote, you cannot afford to take your eye off the fundamentals. Couldn't agree more. Easier said than done, but let's stay focused despite all of this churn up here in the AI space. From a fundraising perspective, while not as big as last week, I would say still a tremendous amount of newly committed capital announced in the past week, totaling more than $23 billion, including Blue Owl Capital with their $10.6 billion sixth GP Stakes fund. Brookfield had a $2 billion first close on its Middle East Partners Fund. Pantheon put up $3.2 billion for their 6th PE co-investment fund. And Windpoint Partners out of Chicago also put up $3.2 billion for their 11th flagship fund. A reminder, you can find back issues and written transcripts of these videos at intentionalcyber.com. Copies of all the articles that we talked about in the comments section below, and we will see you next week for another edition of the Intentional Brief.